Hi, I'm Liz Johnson. I'm a mother, a student, and a teacher. Teacher is more than a title or a job, it's who I am as a person. To teach is as natural as breathing to me, and this Pecha Kucha will help me explain what I mean when I say I teach. Therefore I am. Therefore I teach. This is me with a couple of my wonderful students. I'm a bit of a late bloomer. You see, I didn't become what many people would consider a teacher until I received my alternative certification in 2009. By that time, I had 3 children, lived in 4 different states, and worked on multiple different jobs. But more of that later. This is my wonderful mother. She was my first teacher. Everything and everywhere was her classroom. She was never not teaching. She devoted her life to her children, but she also taught us to share our knowledge with others through modeling. If she was cooking, teaching a ceramics class, passing on traditions, or even looking out the window, she was teaching us something. As an adult, I am a daughter, a sister, an aunt, a mother, but within those titles is embedded who I am, and that, like my mother before me, is a teacher. It is what I do, but it is also who I am. In Curate, we are taught to remember past experiences and allow them to play a part in the development of ourselves in the future. One cannot look to the future without viewing it progressively through the lens of our past. Before I was, in the eyes of many, a teacher, meaning a certified teacher, I was a teacher in early childhood centers, a small private Christian school, and in public schools as a tutor. How does this change the lens in which I view education through? Does it make me more or less of a teacher? I enjoy teaching. Through the lens of my early childhood experience, I have a strong connection to learning through play and brought that with me to the classroom in many creative ways that I teach in various concepts. It also instilled in me a sense of playfulness that I carry daily into the classroom. During my childhood, I learned to do much with little. I was vaguely aware that money was scarce, but my mother and father had a way of making everything an adventure, and I bring that sensibility to the classroom. As I have learned to teach with little, I have turned trash into treasured arts, scavenged books and equipment that was used for many years ago, I use now. Many educators fall into the trap of seeing students as a data point, a percentage of success or failure that they must achieve. This only serves to limit both the student and the teacher. All students are capable of learning, and all students are capable of success. They are often capable of much larger measures than are believed. And I speak not only of the low students, but also of the middle and high students. I believe that a student is a person who is growing and learning, whose potential is only limited in how much they believe they can achieve and grow. This growth mindset, as taught by Carol Dweck, is one of the main perspectives I teach students during the year in my classroom. I teach them to believe that they can grow and achieve more than they ever thought they could. You see, there's no really easy way to grow an apple tree like a child. If you take 3 identical seeds and plant them in the ground, leave one to fend for itself, the other you water, and the third you take care of, fertilize, and prune as needed, you will have 3 trees. But like any child, it's going to be obvious which one was given the most care. Another key to my journey as an educator has been joy. I love being in the classroom. I love going on the journey of learning with my kiddos. It fascinates me to learn about each of my students, what makes them happy, what frustrates them, their weaknesses, their strengths, and most of all, their successes. I teach them to celebrate, and I celebrate with them. Of course, being a teacher is not easy. We repeat ourselves incessantly. We teach procedure after procedure. We labor over lesson plans and teach, 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 review and review, and still we're asked what to do after we give instructions, are ignored, and asked questions for things that we have repeated a million times. But Curé teaches us to look at these moments as part of the process. We have to believe the million and first time we repeat it, the concept will stick. Another frustration for the teachers is all of the data we have to use. Data about the teacher's data on the students that proves the data the teacher was using to create the data to support her claim that a certain percentage of students will pass such and thus test is just crazy. But recently, I was thinking during an hour and a half of week testing that I could survey all the students I just tested about their testing experience and create some data that could help focus our teaching for next year. The key about that is to reflect on what one needs so that the data is meaningful. The journey has been a long one, and one that has shaped me as a person and as an educator. Although it took me a long time to get here, I believe I am a much better educator and person for it. It's often said that God may shut the door, but He often opens a window. In my case, that window was a long and winding path that has brought me to the point where I am now. You see, I have three children, and each one of them has a similar and yet very individual exceptionality. All three have ADHD, and my two boys have Asperger's. It's difficult to raise not one but three exceptional kids that on the outside look perfectly normal and are just different enough to cause strife in the regular classroom. This is exhausting, but it taught me so much about empathy and understanding. I now know why I took such a long path to where I am today. You see, so many kids like my children fall between the cracks. They aren't sped. In fact, they're exceptionally bright often, but they are annoying, let's face it. Anybody that has had an unmedicated ADHD kid in their classroom can attest to that. We often don't have the training or the understanding to help these kids be successful. And I believe in this technological world that these kids are poised to be the rock stars of the future. It is a big wide world out there, and it's my job to see that these kids have an advocate that ensures that their families and they have a voice, a vision, and are better understood and cared for within the regular classroom. This vision is going to be to help educators and a true desire to see all children to succeed, not just the easy ones. So, how do we institute change? It starts with me. This is my passion and my mission. It will take a lot of work, but because of the struggles I have gone through and have witnessed others going through, I am much more prepared than if my road had been a straight and smooth one. And it all started with the wonderful parents, and especially my mom, who taught me to be a lifelong learner and teacher. I truly believe that I could be an educator that begins the change in the thinking of others and educators about students with subtle and sometimes not so subtle differences. I want to work with others. I want to educate other educators about the best practices for this often untapped resource of potential that are our ADHD children who fall on the spectrum. Here are the credits. Special thanks to all who have taught me and brought me to this place in my life: my parents, Mary Ann and Roy Smith, my sister, Debbie Joyner, my husband, Paul Johnson, and my three wonderful, amazing, and exceptional children, Trip, Sean, and Megan.